Welcome to the Heron podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by some friends and fellow Inter Miami fans, Dave, Chris, and Jose. And on behalf of the guys, thank you for joining us for episode 26 here on the Heron podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. Today we will be discussing Inter Miami's 1-1 draw against NYCFC. And if you're watching live on YouTube, thanks for being here, and please be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you're enjoying the show. We want to give a huge shout out to our chief Heron head, Matias. Thank you so much for your generous support. We'd also like to thank our other Heron heads, Art, Brian, Kevin, James, and Karen. If you feel so inclined to support us on Patreon, you'll find a link in the description wherever you're watching or listening. If you don't feel so inclined, that's totally okay too. We appreciate you being here. So guys, that was a crazy finish to an otherwise pretty lackadaisical performance. When New York City FC went up, what was your initial thought, and how did you experience the following 15 minutes after that?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching with my wife, and I turned to her and I said, well, that's it. There goes the season. I felt that a late goal, the way that we had been playing, the way we had been playing, and then having New York score at that point in the game, I didn't see a way. I didn't see anywhere where Miami would score a goal at that point. The way that they had been playing up until that point is just, it wasn't working. And then the light switch kind of turned on for Miami, thank God. And yeah, we were able to get that header off of Toto Aviles in the corner on a set piece, which is something that we don't normally see without Messi in there. And yeah, so close to just finishing off New York and getting those 3 points at the end. I don't know if it was the weather delay that had me a little loopy. I couldn't tell if that ball had gone in or not. But yeah, after the replay, man, that would have been amazing.
I just said, here we go again. Once they scored, I was like, well, like David said, it's over, guys. It is what it is. We tried, right? But then Toto in the 90 plus, what was it, 2 minutes, I think it was, or something like that. He scored that header, and then I went crazy in my couch. My wife and my 2-year-old were asleep next to me on the couch, and like I couldn't hold it in. I woke her up. The 2-year-old, thank God, stayed asleep. But yeah, I was going crazy. So unfortunately, it didn't play like that all match. It seems like they're just almost there. A lot of chances. They just couldn't take that extra step to really get that goal in, because they did have some nice chances across the 90 minutes. But and then that heartbreaking David Ruiz, I could have sworn that went in. As soon as he kicked it, I was already going to celebrate again, and then I saw it kind of bounce out. But I thought that went in. As soon as I saw the angle he was taking from, and he just had it wide open, I was like, oh, we got this. We won. And then it didn't. Heartbreaker. My heart just sank. Not only for us and the team, but for David Ruiz, man. You know what it is to have that shot right in front of you, and you think you're going to win it for the team, and then it just takes a bad bounce. But yeah, what can you say? You can't blame him. He played his heart out all match. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but another start, another strong game for David Ruiz, in my opinion. I think it's telling us something, honestly, going forward with him.
I agree, Chris. I agree. When I saw that, first of all, when I saw the shot going in the beginning, I was like, wow, okay. Because up to that point, I was like very, very sad. I was listening to Kenny Chesney. There goes my life. I was just like very sad. It was at that point I was like, all right, this scene is over. I don't know what to think of this, but I was extremely pleasantly surprised at that shot that when it went in initially, and then yeah, at the end, David Ruiz, I thought he was gonna put us over the head, over the hump, and I was hoping for the best.
So I was at the game, and we were on the opposite side of the pitch, but on the side. And when that whole play was happening, it was so crammed. Like, there were so many players in such a tight space, and the ball kept sort of like going just too far for anyone to get a really good touch on it. Like, no one could really pass the ball well. And then finally, Kremaski gets on the end of it, and he sort of he sees David Ruiz. I saw the buildup. It was so cool. It's so cool when you're there and you can, like, see the play developing from a different angle. And I see David Ruiz, like, cutting from the side, and I'm like, if Kremaski plays it, he's in. And Kremaski plays it perfectly, like, perfectly weighted ball. And then Ruiz, I could tell that he was in behind and that it was just him and the keeper. And I'm like, the angle's kind of tight, but he could do it. And then he smashes it, and it, like, slams the crossbar. And from our angle, you can't really tell, like, where the ball came back down. So we had no, like, depth perception on where the ball was, but you could see that none of the players really reacted like it was in. The crowd was just bewildered at, like, what was happening. And then they cleared and the play went on, and, like, the ref never stopped. And I was like, oh man, like, that would have been one of those moments where you're like, holy crap, like, what just happened? Because for 80 minutes of this match, Miami had no business claiming any points. And then it's like they said, okay, let's throw caution to the wind and let's just go for it. They brought on Taylor for Kristoff to add another body in attack, and we really just held the ball in their attacking third for the last 10 minutes of the match. There were 7 minutes of added time. And we had a corner. It was the first corner, or maybe second corner, that we actually got some height and got past the first person at the front post. Farias was taking the corners pretty poorly, in my opinion. It seems like maybe since we don't take any, they don't practice it because they know it's not part of our game plan, which is just silly. But he finally got some elevation on it, and Aviles got on the end of it. And the crowd was, like, losing it because really a lot of the fans had left. Like, a lot of the crowd had left. I would say that maybe 50%, 60% of the people in the stands were left. So everyone was going, like, really hype, obviously. I mean, we scored and we clawed our way back. And then if that David Ruiz goal had gone in, that place would have erupted, even though it was at, like, 50% capacity. I was like, I was just like shaking, like I didn't know what to do. Like, I was like, oh my God, that would have changed everything. Getting the draw changes a lot. But if we had stolen the 3 points from the jaws of defeat, it would have been something else.
I think it would have made us 1 point back, right? I think it was 1 point back from the 8 and 9 spot, something like that.
It would have been 2 back of both NYCFC and Montreal and DC United now. We would have been 2 points back. We would have had games in hand. Or we still have games in hand, but we would have had games in hand. So we would have had more opportunities based on our results to catch up.
That's what they were saying on the broadcast. They said that after the match that New York FC has to leave this game feeling like they lost. That they basically, they still got a point, but they only have 2 games left. So that distance isn't a whole lot because other teams can make it up.
So a person in the chat put, do we still have a chance if we lose or draw against FC Cincinnati and win the rest? So we control our destiny so long as we win out. If we lose or draw against FC Cincinnati, we have to have other results happen in our favor. So, like, NYCFC would have to drop points, or Montreal would have to drop points, and DC United also now needs to drop points. So it's complicated if we don't win out, which I don't necessarily anticipate us winning out based on people that will be available or not. But if we lose or draw against FC Cincinnati, we need other results that are outside of our control.
But what's great is that at least we're in contention, right? Whereas
we still control our own destiny.
Yeah.
If NYCFC would have beat us, we would have just been completely dead. But yeah, that tie was huge. It's funny how the emotions kind of changed throughout the match. They scored, and you're like, well, we tried. And then we score, and they're like, okay, hey, we got the point. And then we missed that final shot, and you're like, oh, we just got 1 point. That's all we got. Like it's like a roller coaster. The last few minutes of the match. So
it's also frustrating. Like, you saw how when they're firing, like when they're really trying, that they're a dangerous team in attack, and it's just they don't. I don't know what it is. They don't have that drive for the first 80 minutes of the game. That's a little frustrating. You want a little bit of energy and some go-getterness from these guys. It's like you gotta put the pedal to the metal sometimes.
I will say, though, it was a lot better than that Houston match. I mean, they were much more. I think they were much more upbeat. The attack was a little better. At least they had chances. The Houston match was just dead. I think they played a lot better this match, honestly. Overall, it looks like they had a game plan at least.
Yeah, yes
to
and
some
no.
extent.
Yes and no. I still was watching the same team as I was watching Houston. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really see much of a huge improvement. Like who can we stand on and say, okay, this guy made a tremendous. You want me to tell you who I felt was kind of like not impressive, but like hey, at least he didn't do it terribly. Noah Allen, which is weird. I thought he had a great game considering what we expect from him. Him and obviously Todo Alvarez, which is weird. These are our defenders. These are the guys that we felt like okay, they did very well, but no one else really stepped up, which is why we were where we were, right? It was 0-0, 0-1 heading into the extra minutes, and we're like, okay, let's see what happens here. But I agree though. It felt like we're getting some momentum. We just never were able to push it in. But it wasn't something where I can hang my hat on and say, okay, we can win now. Unfortunately.
Yeah, we don't. That performance doesn't give you any kind of confidence that we're going to win every single game we play. But I will say that they improved from their game against Houston just in the mere fact that they didn't look completely lost. In that game they couldn't complete passes. Like their passing was horrendous to the point where it looked like there was something wrong with the pitch, but we knew that wasn't true because the other teams were just fine on the pitch, and that didn't seem like an issue in this one. This one it was just a tightly contested match for most of the match until New York finally broke through in the 78th minute. But yeah, I mean, I think there was marketable improvement. Nothing amazing, of course. Nobody broke through. But yeah, I agree with you 100% that I believe this was Noah Allen's best game that I have ever watched him play. He made some really nice passes and passes that probably should have ended up being a little more dangerous if people had just taken some shots. That's something that we're going to have to see them do more. It's just their aggressiveness when they're in the penalty area. They have to try to let it rip. They're very content with just waiting back and then taking these long outside of the box shots that they're just not dangerous at all.
I feel like the biggest difference between Houston and tonight was that we felt more organized, but when we had the ball, it felt completely toothless. It felt like there was never a danger of us really putting together a dangerous attack. Everyone, when they had the ball, still felt very isolated. Players in the midfield, and I don't know if this is a byproduct of the formation, but the midfield never seemed to help the wingbacks when they were up the pitch. I mean, every time we would get the ball, Allen and Ruiz would go up as high as Campana and Facu. So it was like we had 4 players across the front, but then it left the defenders in the midfield very isolated, it seemed like. Like they would pass to Ruiz or to Allen, and like New York shifted over, and almost every time they had to play it back to the defensive line and play around. And it was just like back and forth and around and around and around. And then we'd finally try to like hit a ball into the midfield, and it was either a bad pass or the person receiving it would take a bad touch and it would be a turnover. And then NYCFC, I mean, honestly, NYCFC should have been up 2 or 3 goals at halftime. They missed some really, really good chances. And they
had a lot of strong counters. Sorry.
Really strong. Yeah, and we had bad giveaways. I forget, I think it was Kramaski passed like right to New York City FC. And then the guy was charging at the ball. Kamal Miller completely missed the tackle, and he was in behind, and it was like that one should have been a goal. And there was another one that should have been a goal. And there was like 2 or 3 of those chances that we felt, or at least I felt, very lucky to not have been down.
No, we're just hanging on up to that point, Holu.
Yeah, well, we didn't do anything, right? Like, we didn't do anything that made you believe, okay, we could score a goal, much less 2 or 3. It felt very, I don't know, like, we needed to chase the points. It felt like they didn't realize that necessarily until it was the 89th minute, and they were like, oh, wait, if we lose this game, the season's just about over. So, like, let's really go after it. It felt weird not seeing them be so aggressive when we had the ball.
you guys want to talk about we spoke a lot about it last episode, is a formation that they're going to choose. They went with the 5 in the back, the 2 strikers. What do you guys think about that? Was that the right decision? Could it have been a little better, maybe? Because the reason I ask, and I'll say it once you guys answer, is Tata actually spoke about it a little bit in the press conference after. So just want to get your guys' thoughts on that.
It actually was what I first thought they would do, because I thought that they didn't have enough talent to compete with NYCFC. That's actually what I thought. I said, okay, if you put enough defenders in the back, you're going to be mucking it up, and you're just going to be waiting on counters, or you're just going to be waiting for it to be 0-0, 0-1 towards the end of the game. And honestly, that's kind of what happened, where we weren't necessarily trying to go after, like I remember Julio, we were talking about it, we were saying it has to be one or the other. I was on the opposing side where I said, okay, well, I want us to be more defensive, because I don't think we can compete in a shootout. That was my impression. Just off of what I had seen with Houston. I just didn't think that they had enough offense. I don't know what it was. We were just off sync. And we haven't been doing well in on offense for a few games now, but it just has been getting worse. And yeah, so I kind of think that's what happened, Chris. I think we just said, okay, let's just go defensive and let's just try to steal some points. And we stole a point, you know.
It ended up being a critical point because, like we were talking about earlier, we still control our destiny. I thought the formation was fine. To me, it's the tactics behind the formation. It still feels disjointed. It still feels that transitioning from the defense getting the ball, progressing into the midfield, progressing into the attack, it feels like there's something missing that clicks in the players' minds, that when they receive the ball, they need to turn upfield and they need to look vertically rather than looking horizontally. Like, there was just too much horizontal play, not enough vertical play. And a couple times, like we were saying, Allen was playing these vertical passes that help some players get in behind, and these guys need to shoot. They need to shoot a lot of good chances, even if they're tough angles. I mean, you want to talk about tough angles and good things come from it. Look at the last 2 goals that have gone past calendar from the run of play. 2 very tight angle, but they just throw it at the goal and good things happen. You know, like, you never know if maybe the shot doesn't go in, maybe it goes right to the keeper, but maybe he fumbles it. Like, maybe he just deflects it and it goes somewhere and you get a lucky bounce and someone else runs onto it. But you got to throw the ball on net. To me, the formation's fine. It's fine. Like, we have to cover for Yedlin being out. We're covering for Alba being out. We're covering for Messi being out. There's fatigue. Gomez is out. Like, there's a lot of pieces that are missing. But the tactics and the mentality behind it need to change. It needs to be forward thinking. The crowd was getting so restless, like almost booing when we would have the ball and we were just playing it back. Like, they were getting really restless. The sense, the feel of the whole arena, the vibe. Everyone knows that we need points. Everyone knows that we needed to win. And it seemed like the team didn't have the urgency to get forward really aggressively.
Yeah, there was that one sequence that I mentioned in the group chat, and you said, yeah, the crowd went crazy because no one did anything. It seemed like they just outmanned NYCFC in the box at some point. It was like Kramaski and Martinez. I think, like, I'm pretty sure everyone touched the ball at some point, and no one took the shot. And it was just open. They had open lanes. And yeah, it's definitely frustrating. Like you said, it could ricochet. Anything could happen as long as you get that shot on target. So it is frustrating to see them outmanning NYCFC at some point, even if it's just for 3 seconds. If you have that shot, that open angle, just take it. Just take the shot. And they didn't. I think Martinez had a chance and he didn't do it. And there's a couple people in that sequence that didn't do it. And it's just frustrating.
Well, did you know, Julio, that we had 65% possession?
It honestly didn't feel it, and I assume most of that is in the second half.
Yeah, I saw that stat pop up, and I was shocked. I was like, how? How do we have 65% possession? It doesn't make any sense.
Pointless possession.
Wow, it was actually 63 in the first half, 66 in the second. That's shocking to me. I did not know that. Thank you for that. Did you know?
You're welcome.
I had no idea.
I didn't know either.
But it's the same. It's similar. It's similar to other games where we've seen that we dominate the possession, but since there's no real intent behind it, it just doesn't give you that sense that you had possession at all. Like, what's the point? It's a fat nothing burger. Like, great, we hit our number, but we're not
It's non-threatening. Non-threatening
for a corner, which isn't really possession. It's just a set piece. Like, we would have been talking about a 1-0 loss with 65+% possession. It's not good enough to just have possession, but we need to do something with it. It just felt so useless.
Moag 14 just commented about the Arroyo Carvasky stumble. I can't tell you like how quickly I just threw my remote across the room and just walked away and went to the bathroom. I don't know what to do, but I just got so mad because that looked like a very nice opportunity for us where it wasn't just those two. We also had, I don't know if it was Noah Allen on the left side of it. We had a few guys just like ready to pounce. I was like, oh my God, we've been waiting for this moment. Oh my God. I was like, I had my family over for my son's birthday, and I was like, here we go, guys. It's happening right now. just stumbled. I was like, all right.
And that was before New York had scored too. That was a huge moment. It was a huge moment. I had looked down momentarily to start grabbing my phone to start recording, and by the time I looked up, the ball was just like trickling away into New York's side, and I just look and both of our players are on the floor, and Carl was like, I think they just hit each other and fell.
It looked worse on TV. it was
I think Kramaski thought somebody had fouled him, so he just like threw himself on the ground, and then when he realized it was Arroyo,
what's happening?
it was just like, oh no.
It could have looked
No, he clipped his heel, so he tripped. He didn't even throw himself on the floor. It was like a legit trip. Arroyo was crossing behind him, and he clipped his heel in.
Yeah, but he sold it to get that red card.
Yeah, he did the extra roll to get the red card.
Imagine they had given Arroyo the red card for being a doofus.
They were giving cards for everything, so I'm not surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised. Yeah, it just so many moments felt like the team just doesn't know where their teammates are, and that's such a weird thing to me. This team now has been together for long enough, have trained together long enough, where you would think that they would understand what each other's doing.
Yes and no, and it's kind of it's funny. One of our commenters are actually talking about it right now. In Moag 14, he's actually commenting that we've had a lot of time together with these guys, but at the same time, we've constantly, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts, in episodes where we're talking about like we're constantly changing our formation, we're constantly changing our folks. We don't have a lot of chemistry because we're constantly changing just the personnel, the formation. How are you going to have any continuity like this? And I don't know. I almost wonder, are we the only team that's going through this right now? It's like it doesn't make sense to me. Like maybe we just have a lot of injuries. I saw Malta there today, which I was like, hey, look who's here. He decided to play soccer today. It's very difficult to keep a pulse on who exactly is going to be playing and when.
I mean, these guys, I know that they move them around a lot, but it's the same guys that keep playing together. At some point, you have a feel for what runs guys make and what players like. So that aspect I don't agree with, because they do practice and they're the same guys that seem to be getting the starters minutes.
It's not happening, David. It's not happening. I don't know.
No, I don't have an excuse. I don't have an excuse for why they don't figure it out. But when you ask about other teams, I think that yes, they've had some time to play together, but compared to some of these other teams that have just added one or two pieces, in that aspect, yes, it's a much newer group. But I still don't want to give that excuse because I think it's a poor excuse. They've played a lot of games together now. We've had more games in the last month and a half than most of these other clubs. by product of all the tournaments that we've been into late in the tournaments, whether we won the League Cup or we were in the final in the US Open Cup. So we've had a lot of extra games to play in with this new group. So it's a yes and no. Yes, they are a newer group, but no, they've had plenty of time to mesh and gel.
Oprah with the yellow cards. I love that. I agree. I agree, Lane.
Our team had 6 yellow cards.
They were handing them out like candy. It's
a lot.
It's trick or treat season.
It's a lot.
And it didn't even seem like it was like such a, because there's some, we've been in some games where we're like, well, this is getting a little bit too, like, there's a lot happening here. There's a lot. Was it? I recall the Atlanta game. I think it was in the Orlando game. Like those games were chippy, right? Like these last 2 games, I don't know. I'm like, Houston. We also got a lot of yellows. This team.
Did Busquets ever get a yellow?
No. Shockingly, no.
He had a bunch of fouls right off the bat.
I thought he was going to get one pretty early on. Actually, there was one where it was a breakaway and he sort of stopped the whole play. I thought that for sure was going to be the yellow. Yeah, it was a smart foul. It was like a professional foul.
He body slammed the guy.
Yes,
right out of the box.
You know what? It was too early. It was just a feel-out session. Let's not talk about that.
He had like 4 early fouls.
Sergio is a professional. He knew what he was doing, and the referee understood it as well.
That's why he won man of the match, because only a pro's pro can have that many fouls and not get a yellow card.
It was 8 yellow cards in the match.
I don't even know if was he actually man of the match, because that's not who I would have given it to.
He was, and that's not who I would have given it to either.
I would have given it to Toto.
Agreed.
He had a great game.
Toto or Ruiz? I thought Ruiz was really, considering he played out of position. I thought
Ruiz was the one player that I was happy with the way they played from start to finish. Oh my God, had he hit that goal, amazing. That would have been fantastic.
It was Toto for me.
But I think that the way that Ruiz handled the ball and was able to move up and down the pitch and in a position that he's not really familiar with, and his handling was fantastic, and he was able to really manipulate the defenses and things like that. So it's frustrating that he didn't get that goal at the end.
He shows the intent in attack that all the players should be showing. Like, he showed an intent to take a defender on one-on-one. So, Moag comments again, what do you guys think about Farias? Farias has dropped off. He's dropped off big time. I mean, we looked at him as like a dynamic playmaker, and now it's just like he lost that sort of spark. I don't know if it's just because all the players around him keep changing, or maybe too much is being expected of him. But 2 matches ago, he was one of the first names on the team sheet, and now it's just like he's just not really bringing that same dynamism. The passes aren't there. His shot. He sent a couple shots into the supporter stand, and it's just like the confidence is sort of not where it was just a week ago.
Did you catch it?
Yeah, what we wanted from him was to be that attacking middle, and not. I don't think he's best suited to be a striker. That kind of takes away his creativity. So that's why Martinez being in that striker position makes more sense. But yeah, we all expected him to take that next step. Without Messi in the lineup, we're like, okay, we feel okay with Messi. And again, he's not Messi, but we feel like he can provide a little bit of that same creativity. But absolutely, he's regressed. It's something that's not ideal, because we all thought that he's not long for Europe. But if he keeps playing the way he's been playing, then yeah, he's gonna be stateside for a bit longer. But I'm not really ready to say that he's not going to continue to form, but he's unfortunately been a little bit of a disappointment the last couple of matches.
Yeah, I mean his last 2 matches have been his bad ones, right? But the whole team has had bad matches these last 2 matches. So maybe it's just a product of the whole team, and obviously you want him to take the next step and carry the team a little bit, but the whole team has just been deflated the last 2 matches. So maybe that's what it is. Hopefully the team changes and he changes a little bit on that too. To touch on the man of the match thing, I wouldn't pick Toto, although he made the beautiful the header for the goal. He got another yellow card, man. He continues to make these crazy we can't just put it aside, because now he's out next match. and now we're going to be down another player. Why are we in this position of this tinkering and this and that? Because we're missing players. Some are injuries. We can't do anything about that. But these yellow card accumulations, we can't keep doing that. So this is just a bonehead move, and it just sucks. We're gonna be out another defender next match. Obviously, Yedlin's gonna be back, but now we have to see what Tata's gonna do again. We're gonna guess again, see what he's gonna do with the back line. Obviously, we have Christoph and Kamal Miller, but I don't know. I like the way Aviles plays, but he has to stop these bonehead moves. That's why I wouldn't choose him, and I picked David Ruiz.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Facu is not someone I'm going to put on my Robert Taylor hate list, but I'm definitely looking at him at this point where I'm like, yo, like step up, because he is somebody that we're counting on to fill in some type of a role when Messi's not in there, but clearly he goes down a notch when Messi's not around. It is what it is. A lot of these guys do, but him particularly, I don't know what it is. It's like he needs him around. I don't know. I haven't been impressed with him already for a few matches, but I agree. It's a question that we should start talking about. You know, maybe he's not what we think he is, but I'm not there I'm not there yet with him.
He's played well. He's played well without Messi before. He's shown that creativity. It's just for whatever reason these last couple of matches. Remember, I was saying I'm excited to watch him play with Messi because he had taken that step to showing what he can do, and I was like, wow, I haven't seen him play at this level with Messi, because when Messi was playing, Vargas was just coming on. So I don't agree with you in that point, but yeah, I mean, it's disappointing to see him take a step back, but yeah, I think with Messi on, who knows what Vargas is capable of.
I mean, we know everyone's better with Messi. That's like a given. On the point of Toto, he's played 9 matches across all competitions for Inter Miami. He has 6 yellow cards.
He's trying hard.
It's too many. It's just too many. We say every time he gets a yellow card, he needs to just play within himself because he's good enough to take on attackers one-on-one and not be beat. And he just sometimes just pulls himself out of position for seemingly no reason, for the sake of being aggressive. And we mentioned once that, he's the Sergio Ramos, like he's the enforcer, but he's no, because you're just not that dude right now. He's a 19-year-old kid. He looks it. He has the most baby face of like anyone on the on the team. And I don't know, man. It's pretty close. We can have a ranking episode.
We should.
So yeah, he's affecting the team now by doing this. Clearly, like we're gonna have to tinker with the lineup more now. Who knows if now he just forces Tata's hand to go 4 at the back, or if he's gonna go 5 at the back again with Sailor or someone else that hasn't played. But it's just like this is the wrong time. He's been here for, like I said, 9 matches, and you've already accumulated enough cards to warrant being suspended because of yellow card accumulation. Like, that's insane.
Unacceptable, honestly.
When are we getting Gregory back?
There hasn't really been any updates.
I've heard he's been training now for over a week.
Yeah.
I was surprised we got Mota back.
Well, Mota at least has played.
Yeah, he re-aggravated, but
they're so like tight-lipped about this stuff. It drives me nuts, honestly. Like, I don't know if you felt the same way, Julio, today as I did the other day when I went. I was like, I was kind of holding out hope that you'd be able to see him today, because I had read reports where I was like, oh, you never know, maybe he might go. Now I'm talking about Messi, but we don't know the status of this team in general. You know what I'm saying? They're very tight-lipped. It's like, I don't know why they have their cards so close to their chest. I'm like, relax. Gregory, for example, why don't we know an update? This makes no sense to me. Malta today, that's a big deal. He's always been a big integral part of our team. Just say that he's available or not. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand.
Yeah, it is weird. There's no other answer for it other than it being odd that they don't just provide updates. I don't know. I don't know if they just keep it internal and tell the guys, hey, Gregory's maybe like 2 weeks away, a week away. We don't know. I don't know. It just seemed it is odd, but we're coming from a place like in American sports where the NFL has to publish injury reports, and the MLS just doesn't require you to publicize that information. So it's frustrating, and it makes it a crapshoot of who you're going to see on a week or match to match basis. Not even week to week. We're playing like 2 matches every week. Yeah, I mean, I was holding out hope and being like, I am 99% sure Messi doesn't play, but wouldn't it be cool if he was listed on the bench? But, it is what it is. It is what it is right now.
I think it's a good sign, at least, that he's showing up to the games. And I'm not seeing him walk with any kind of visible limp or anything like that. So if he was limping out there, I'd really think, okay, then I don't think he's going to play a single match.
David, he's getting season. A free view of a soccer match. I'm not impressed. Just show up, put your suit on, put your practice pads on and start practicing, and then turn it into the game. I don't care. We need you out there. We're a do or die situation. Let's go. Enough.
So let's touch that just a little bit real quick. So during the match, the topic, PG guys, come on. So during the match, this tweet came out saying that sources have told this person that that supposedly Messi had I think a grade 2 hamstring tear,
a 2 centimeter tear in his hamstring,
or was that what it was? Okay, 2 centimeter tear on his hamstring, confirmed by MRIs.
Huh? Is it the same as Alba? Is that what they're saying?
I don't know. I'm talking about Messi right now. So they said 2 centimeter tear on his hamstring, confirmed by MRIs. Whatever, blah blah blah. That was the main thing of the tweet. So you see that and you kind of freak out. Oh, and it said, and he's not going to play for the rest of the MLS season. That was the source. And then you see that, like, oh crap, like we're done. we're this is done. So then fast forward to after the match, and Tata's being interviewed. First question that comes on is from Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald, and she straight up asked him first question about that report. She tells him exactly what the report said, and then Tata tells her, basically saying that it's a lie, calling out the report, saying that if the report was wrong, what would happen to that reporter? Like, if anything, if there'd be any consequences for having a false report out there. So I thought it was an interesting answer. And he kind of just talks about he kind of just, I don't know, just kicks it back to her. And it was kind of like a back and forth, but he's never really answered the question. He just said the same thing. We'll just see match, game, basically day to day is what he said. And it didn't give me any confidence, honestly. He didn't answer the question. So I still think there's something weird going on there. I know David says he saw him walking fine, but there's something weird going on there.
Take your tinfoil hat off, Chris. You always think that there's some kind of conspiracy going on in the background, and it's the guy who made that report, who initially said that he'd be done for the season. Then he walked his tweet back, saying that, if he had to play, he would certainly play, and things like that. So I don't trust some random reporter right now. It's hard to trust anybody on it, but I'm definitely not going to take too much credence in this random dude.
I'm not trusting that report. I'm not trusting it at all. But I still think there's something wrong. You're not taking off your tinfoil hat. No, because I still think there's something wrong with him. I still think there's something wrong with him that we don't know about.
No, but Chris is not wrong for pointing it out. We're all thinking the same thing. We're in the last game. We're gonna keep talking about Houston. It is what it is. We have to think about how is it that we're so unprepared? Like Moag 14 is literally commenting on it. As in the comments, he's like, I wonder if players are also kept in the dark about Messi. Yeah, it's literally what we're all thinking, because how are you so off in that first half? It just speaks. It was very telling. It was very telling as folks that watch this team, that care about this team, that you're like, why isn't everyone on the same page? I don't understand. Why are we doing walkthroughs? Fast forward to this game. Have you noticed any significant difference in this offense right now? I don't know. Maybe we should start looking at that. Yo, what are you doing? I don't understand. Like, this isn't something that I mean, okay, start living life without Messi at this point. We need to get something going.
It
It's
does.
not just Messi though. It's Alba, and this match we had no Yedlin, and there's always something else that's an issue, and these are core players that we're missing. So it's tough when you don't have your core players to really conduct your schemes the way that you plan. And it is a challenge for Tata, and I understand that. But again, that doesn't defend him not doing walkthroughs. I think that might have just been a one-off. I don't think that's been the case in this match and any match prior to that. But yeah, again, I don't want to keep going back to the Houston. That was a debacle, and I think that they've turned the page and they're trying to move forward and they're trying to get into the playoffs at this point.
They haven't turned the page. They still stuck. It is what it is. We're not.
Did we lose? Did we lose this match the way that we lost against Houston?
David, we should have lost this match. It's like Julio said. It's like Julio said. There's in the first half we had some misses that it was nothing to do with what we were doing. They were just misses. I mean,
I say we should have won this match. David Ruiz's goal should have gone in. How about that?
Bam, bam.
Tell that to your mama.
There
you go.
No, it's okay. Fine. We can play that game all we want, but like, if you guys feel comfortable with the way the offense is going, so be it. But I don't think
anybody has said that. I think we're explaining why.
I think you guys are. I think you guys are apologists, and you love Tata. And I'm just telling you, we need to start calling him out. It is what it is.
I'm pretty sure you've made the most apologies on this podcast all time.
It was always the calendar, and also and it was also Robert Taylor. I'm gonna be honest, I rescind that one. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, but let's look back at that and let's
apologists and Indian giver. Oh my!
Everything that has happened after that apology for Robert Taylor, I've stood corrected. I don't know what to tell you.
So back talking about Messi and his injury or non-injury, I do think it's very odd just how they're handling the whole situation. It's almost like that pleaded the fifth in the press conference, and he was just like, "Meh, like I'm not going to give you any information on it," which again is kind of his job. But it's just weird. Like if the hamstring news were true, we wouldn't see Messi walking around so comfortably in these videos that come out from training. So I don't buy that. But also he hasn't played in 25 days, 24 days, however long it's been. So something obviously is going on. It's weird that we just don't get clarity, and it's weird that the league doesn't enforce or require teams to provide clarity. So he's just walking around and no one knows what's going on. You don't know if he's going to play next match. Is it the MLS forcing Miami to stay quiet about it so that they can sell tickets? Like, it's all these conspiracy theories, and no one knows what the right answer is. It's just it's bizarre. It's bizarre the veil of mystery that's shrouded around him specifically.
So
I don't agree with the commenter right now of no playoffs this year. I still think there's still hope. Everything that I've said so far, if you put everything into perspective, we're still in it. We still have an opportunity. It still depends on whether or not we want to, whether or not Messi decides that his hamstring's not that bad or whatever the case may be. But also we don't necessarily. I don't think we need Messi to necessarily get over the hump. But I do think we need some kind of uniformity in what we're trying to do. I haven't seen that. I think we need to have some kind of coming to Jesus moment with these guys and say, okay, this is the offense we want to run. This is the style that we want to play. I do think today we tried to muck it up. We tried to which is not the style of play that we have been used to. I'm okay with it, but it's totally different from what we've tried to do in the past. Totally different.
So let's look ahead and talk about our chances of making the playoffs. So next up, we play Chicago, and that match is on Wednesday. It's like already another quick turnaround. Shocker. Chicago won against New York Red Bulls 1-0, but before that, they hadn't won a match in like 2 months. So that doesn't fill me with dread, the idea of having to go and beat Chicago. The problem is you have to beat them. You don't have to just get a point. That, with how our offense has been performing, is becoming worrisome, anticipating that we'll be able to score enough to beat an opponent that likely will have good chances against our defense that has been very shaky in moments. But Chicago's, like I was saying, not a great team. At home, they're subpar. They're 5-7-3 at home with 22 goals scored and 19 goals allowed. So it doesn't fill me with a lot of terror having to go in there. It's not like a fortress to go play at. And then we have to beat them and then immediately turn around, and I believe it's Cincinnati, followed by the 2 Charlotte matches. It's gonna be a grind, and the team just has to go out and really they have to show me more just intent. They have to show me more will to go after the attack, even if it means stretching the defense at times, because let's face it, the defense is getting stretched no matter what they're doing. Like, even just playing this mucky ball, they're still getting countered, and the opposition still has very good attacks pretty consistently. Like, we saw it very consistently in the first half of this match, and then they tightened up a little bit. But Chicago's up next, and we'll see how that one goes. But that if we win that one, then it's still game on.
I just think at some point we have to take advantage. We've been getting all the good breaks have been going our way. People are losing, or teams are losing, teams are tying when we need them to, and we don't take advantage of it tonight. If we would have won tonight, it just would have put us way up there, and we didn't. Last week was the same thing. A bunch of teams lost and we needed to lose, and we didn't take advantage again. So obviously we know if we don't take advantage, we're not going to make it. At some point, this team has to step up and take those 3 points. There's only so long that the other teams are going to keep losing or keep tying. At some point, it's going to end. It can't. It's not sustainable, right? And we've already said it. We hold our own destiny. We win out. We get into the playoffs. So at some point, we just have to take advantage, get the 3 points, and not rely on the other teams anymore. Enough's enough with that. It's been nice, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah, you can't keep getting lucky. We control our destiny. If we don't take advantage of that, then we're likely going to miss out on the playoffs. So we'll see. We'll do a full match preview for that match. We'll probably get it out Monday for the Wednesday match. Until then, I don't know if anyone has any closing statements on this match.
Yeah, let me clarify. I'm not saying that we are. I'm not saying that we're better off without Messi or any. Like, I'm seeing the comment. I'm like, okay, did I say okay? We're better with Messi, and we have a way better chance with Messi. I'm just saying that we don't have necessarily put your hands up. It's over. Messi's not playing. No, we still have the players that we can to get to the playoffs at least. I'm not saying we're going to do much noise in the playoffs without Messi, but I don't necessarily think that with the teams that we have ahead on the schedule, I think we could take them without Messi. First, without Messi and Alba, way harder both of them. But we shouldn't just be putting our hands up and saying, "Oh, we can't compete. It is what it is. Let's see what happens." And I feel like that's what we've been doing lately.
I know we struggled in attack tonight, but I still am of the belief that we have a very competent attack when they play with a will to score.
I have one more comment. Come on, Miller. Stop running up like if you're a striker, please. That goal was on him, honestly. He left the back line, just left him to dry. Everyone had to kind of shift to his position. Striker, or I think it was a striker, I don't know, got the right angle and made the shots. Come on, Miller. Stop running up, please. Jesus Christ.
When last comment that they asked about the season ticket prices. Very quickly, I also think, guys, this is what you get when you're signing the Albas of the world and the Messis. I do think it comes with the territory. Unfortunately, it kind of is what it is, right? You can't pay for the top talent and not have to pay for it from when you're buying the tickets. It is what it is. It's just a shame that it's so high and affected so many people.
I think the amount that it increased, it being 2 or 3 times what it was, that's
Right.
shocking. But
It is.
that's what we've seen with single game tickets this
Yeah,
season.
yeah. Us, yeah. Whenever we're buying a ticket, it hurts every
Yeah.
single time.
So I was talking to someone at the match that has 3 tickets. They're good tickets, so he's already paying quite a bit. But what his rep sent him to renew was more than double what he's currently paying. And this is a gentleman who has had season tickets from the first inaugural season, and it sucks that there's no like legacy, like, oh, you've been here for 3 years, so you get grandfathered into this different price tier increase. That it's a 25% flat increase for season ticket holders that have had tickets for, I don't know, 2+ years. You know, I don't know if that exists, but like,
We're just gradual.
Right.
It should be more gradual. You know,
Right.
The Dolphins are doing it. Every team does it. But that significant increase is not.
It's hard to swallow. It's hard to swallow, especially because you consider we were more or less the worst team in the league, and then you get, you know, a couple pieces, but you get the crown jewel, and now you're talking about 3 times increase. It's affecting all the teams in the league too, not just Miami. Not to the extent of Miami, but I think I saw DC United. They had like a 30% increase in tickets as well, and they're all attributing it to Messi because you get one match with Messi potentially coming, and that's kind of grimy to me.
That is grimy.
But the whole league is rising, is floating because of it, which is just weird. Like the comment around Twitter is that the product on the pitch is not equivalent to the price that we're charging, because we're charging prices that are above and beyond the Liverpools and Real Madrid and Barcelona. And granted, these stadiums have 2 or 3 times as many seats, so the tickets can be cheaper. But yeah, I mean, there's a weird balancing act, but people are paying it. The guy I was talking to was like, yeah, like I'm gonna buy them. Like I'm gonna buy these season tickets, even though they're 2.5 times more than what I'm currently paying. Because like, how are you not? So we can dive deeper into that. We've gone quite a bit over our usual runtime here. Everyone's very tired. I see it on everybody's faces. Dave has his usual very animated face right now. So it wasn't the result we wanted, but honestly, after the first 85 minutes of this match, I would have been very happy if you told me we would have left with a point, even though we came inches away from stealing 3 points and shutting up the tiny faction of NYCFC fans that were in the stands right next to me chanting, "Where is Messi?" But we didn't. We take our point. We still control our destiny. We'll have our Chicago match preview out in a couple days. And until then, thank you guys for joining the Heron Heads podcast, your first place for all things Inter Miami. Catch you on the next one.